One of the most common reasons for divorce or being unhappily married is not being able to communicate effectively with your husband. It took me 6 years, but I'm going to teach you in a couple of minutes how to communicate with your husband to set up your marriage for success. But you have to trust me and need to be teachable and willing and wanting to change. If you're new here, my name is Julie, and I help wives to end loneliness and disconnection in their marriages by sharing with you what I have learned from being married for over a decade. If you want to restore your marriage or learn how to create a joyful marriage, then I would love to invite you to press that like and subscribe button, because I share all the things that you need to know on how to build a better marriage with your husband. It also helps this video to reach other wives who are struggling in their marriages today. Why is it that so many couples start to struggle with communication when they've been married for a couple of years and not at the beginning? And well, it's actually a couple of things. Over time, spouses kind of assume that the other person should just know their needs and their wants. Major life changes like having kids, struggling financially, having health issues, or even job stresses can drain us emotionally. Instead of communicating, spouses kind of sometimes just shut down. And mostly this can be because they're not feeling safe to share their stresses with their spouse. Early in the relationship, couples usually put a lot of work and effort into understanding one another. But as time passes, they kind of assume that the other person already knows. So there's no need to put in the effort to actually know what is going on within their heart or within their mind. And this usually leads to a lot of misinterpretation of things that your husband has said or that you have said to your husband. Men and women often communicate differently. Without intentional communication, conversation usually becomes about logistics, kids' schedules, and finances. And within those, there are no deep connection. Unresolved conflict or issues in the past can actually put communication roadblocks for the future. A busy lifestyle or just the lack of communication can actually make it harder to open up or to communicate. Over time, as all of these things build up, we kind of tell ourselves this lie that our husbands does not care anymore. Or we try to put in the work to make communication work and it's not effective. So we tell ourselves that our husbands will never change. But I'm here to tell you today that that is not the truth. That change can actually start with you. And today I'm going to teach you exactly how to build on communication again. All of these things that I've just mentioned and listed can be fixed. And I'm going to teach you exactly how. And the first step is I want you to break down that belief that you know what your husband wants and what he needs. People change and people grow, and our needs and our wants can also change over time. It is important to always keep on studying your husband and learning new things about him as he grows and as he matures. Have you ever thought to yourself that my husband is not the same person that I married a few years ago? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Imagine you had to be stuck in the same place as the same person for the rest of your life. That is boring. And if you look at life, the world around us, everything is constantly growing and constantly evolving. And so we as humans do too. So growing is a good thing. The next thing I want you to do, I want you to accept your husband for who he is. If you want to improve on communication, then you first need to improve your communication. Not his communication, but your communication. Don't watch this video thinking that you're going to teach him how to communicate better. No. Watch this video for yourself so that you can learn how to better communicate with your husband. Once your communication starts to improve, this will overflow into your marriage. And automatically, your husband's communication will become better as well. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, trust me on this. So feeling unhappy in a marriage usually starts with unmet needs. We have a longing for our husbands to tell us that they love us, to compliment our looks, We want to have long conversations with our husbands to make us feel connected to them. But instead, we kind of end up getting nothing. And we feel like our husband isn't putting any effort into making this marriage work. We end up feeling unfulfilled, unhappy, and lonely. Your husband most likely don't even know how you feel. Not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't know what makes you happy. And even if he does know, sometimes our husbands just don't know how to accomplish this. Here's what you do about it. You communicate it to him. You simply tell him exactly what you need. Now, it is very important that you do this in a kind and respectful way. So focus on using I statements and not you statements, because this keeps the conversation non-blaming and constructive. For instance, instead of saying, "You never spend time with me," you can rather say, "I feel most connected to you when we spend quality time together. I'd love to plan more time just for us." Next, I want you to be clear and gentle. You want to express your need or your want in a way that invites him into the solution, rather than pressuring him. This can go something like, "Lately, I've been feeling a bit overwhelmed with the housework. It would mean a lot to me if we could figure out a way to share some of the responsibilities." And you also want to invite him to share his perspective. Focus on making it a conversation instead of a demand. What do you think? Does that sound like something that we can work on together? Always end on a positive note. You want to show him appreciation for the willingness to listen and to work together. Thank you for listening. I am glad I have a husband that I can lean on. This will make him feel appreciated, and it will also tap into his masculine energy of giving that appreciation, knowing that you can lean on your husband. I know how hard communication can be, or even to understand your own needs and wants and to express them to your husband. Therefore, I created a free webinar, Creating a Joyful Marriage, to help you understand what makes you happy, and I go deeper into how to communicate that to your husband. If you are struggling in your marriage today and you want to restore your marriage, I want to invite you to this free webinar. I linked it in the description down below. Otherwise, you can comment "Creating a Joyful Marriage" in the comments down below, and I will send you the direct link. So next, I want you to focus on your expectations. I want you to drop every expectation you have on your husband. If you expect him to take out the trash, drop it. Don't expect it. If you expect him to fix something in the house because that is his duty as a husband, drop it. Don't expect it. Whatever expectation you have on your husband, I want you to drop it and start to communicate it. The moment we have an expectation on our husbands and we expect them to take out the trash and they don't do it, we get angry. We get resentful towards them because our thoughts run wild and we get this wild idea that they don't care, they're doing nothing around the house. That is not the truth. You are expecting something, but you are not communicating what you need. Expectation leads to disappointment. If you have expectations in your marriage, you are setting your marriage up to fail. So, if we have no expectations on our husband to do anything, we start to communicate the things that we want and need. Because if you don't expect him to take out the trash, you will simply ask him to take out the trash. You will start to communicate. The key here is to replace all your expectations with communication. Now, communication has 3 parts. Words, what we actually use to communicate. Tonality, the way we say things. And our body language. Our facial expressions and our body language when we say things. And out of these 3 things, the one that speaks the loudest is actually your body language, especially your face expression. So if you were to say to your husband, "Honey, the trash needs emptying," what do you think that will communicate to him? You are irritated by the fact that he hasn't taken out the trash yet. And any man, any husband would take offense of that. So you need to know and you need to focus on when you communicate with your husband that your words, tonality, and body language gives the same message. Now, when we have no expectation on our husband, we ask them exactly what we need. Our words, tonality, and body language gives the same message. It can still be received and perceived in the wrong way, especially if there is built up resentment or unresolved conflict and issues, or if your marriage is in a bad place. Let's say you have asked your husband in the kindest possible way to fix the bathroom mirror. Something like, "Honey, have you fixed the bathroom mirror?" A sentence so simple and innocent can sometimes be perceived in the wrong way. Your husband might think that you are communicating to him, "Why haven't you fixed the mirror yet?" Or negligent for not fixing the mirror yet. And the same goes for us. Sometimes our husbands tells us something or ask us something, and we hear and perceive it as something totally different. If your husband asks you something like, "I don't have any clean socks in my cupboard, do you know where I can find some?" You might perceive it as he is telling you that you are disorganized or lazy for not putting his socks where he is used to finding them. If you want to work on your marriage and you want to improve it, with this, you can work on the validating system. This is when you tell your husband exactly what you perceived his words to say. It is as simple as telling him, "Did you mean to tell me that I am disorganized because I haven't put in your socks in your cupboards?" Or you can simply say something like, "I just heard you say that you feel I am disorganized because I haven't put in your socks in your cupboards." So in this way, you are validating what your husband has just said and how you received it by asking him directly. And in this way, it gives your husband the opportunity to tell you what he actually did mean. So for this to work, your husband or the person that made the statement or that asked the question gets to decide what the truth is. And it's your responsibility to take that as the truth and to move on. Don't linger on it. Don't think that he's not telling the truth and his whole body language spoke differently. No, you have validated with your husband what he meant, and you have to take that as the truth. If you are interrupting your husband while he is telling you the truth and you say something like, "No, that is not what you said," then you are instigating conflict. You should accept what he said as truth and move on. You can also try by asking him something like, "Can you help me to understand what you just said or meant?" just to get clarification. Now, I know communication does not come easy for everyone. For me, it certainly did not. I was fearful of communication and conflict. I would rather leave an argument or an issue unsolved than actually to take it head on. So if you are the same and you are fearful of speaking, I have 3 things that you can do. Number 1 is the journal. Journal your feelings to get clarification on how you are feeling. Write out what you want to say to your husband, because most of the times when we are fearful of speaking, we have this fear that we will hurt our husbands. So write it out what you want to say to him in the best possible way. This will also help you to understand what you actually need from your husband or want from your husband and how to communicate that to him. So after you have journaled that and have a better understanding of yourself, then take that to your husband and speak to him about it. Number 2, and this is something that I used to do, is to write a letter to your husband. I would write him a letter of exactly how I'm feeling and what my needs and wants are. And then I would actually wait till like nighttime when he's busy and I know he's busy, he's not going to read the letter now. I would give the letter to him, I would say goodnight and I would go to bed because I did not want to face it. And then after that, like the day or 2 after that, then we would speak about my letter and how I was feeling. And sometimes he even came to wake me up at night because he is a problem solver. Men are problem solvers and they want to have a solution right away. But the power in writing a letter is you are planting a seed in your husband how you are feeling, and because they cannot directly respond to you, they actually have the opportunity to linger in your feelings and to work through their own hurts if you might have caused them any hurt within the letter. And that usually ends up to having a calmer and deeper discussion about what was written in the letter. Number 3 is creating a safe zone, and this is something that me and my husband just made up to help me to be able to speak to him freely about things that was bothering me. So if I wanted to come to him about a problem, I would use the word safe zone, and he would then know that I was afraid to say whatever I'm about to share, and it is his responsibility to know that he should listen to understand and not to respond, and to be calm. And our other rule was also, we do not end the safe zone if we did not find a solution. And this has helped me build up trust with my husband, knowing that he is a safe space for me to come to and to speak to how I am feeling. It's not something that my husband did, that I had this fear. It was just a fear, probably from childhood, but just something that I kind of built up within the years. And today I can't even remember when last I actually used the safe zone, because there's no need. We have built and created our marriage to where we want it to be, a safe place. If you want the marriage tools that I have learned on how to create a joyful and a great marriage, then again I would love to invite you to the free webinar of creating a joyful marriage. Just comment creating a joyful marriage down below and I'll send you the direct link. Otherwise, you can find the link in the description down below. I also want to suggest that you watch this next video that I made, 1-minute habits to instantly transform your marriage. If you haven't, please press that like and subscribe button, as it really helps this video to reach wives who are struggling in their marriages today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day.